Originally, my response was structured completely different from what I'm going to present now, but under the influence of the morning sessions and the program, I decided to restrict my response to the point 2. And I would like to devote my response to one of the central questions Professor Soskice's paper launched. And the question is, why name God? Naming in general is a way to express our relationship to phenomena in our lives. Things named somehow belong to us. By naming, we regard things as part of our life and the universe perceived. Having been given name, they gain a particular place in our lives. Labeling phenomena with names tells what they mean to us, how we understand them. So, names we give to phenomena describes not only these phenomena, but says a lot also about the one who names them. God, as he is experienced in his revelation, for example, Moses experiences God present in the burning bush, is also a phenomenon in a sense. God appears in history and in our lives in a way that we may feel his presence, we may experience his acts, and thus we are invited to name the one revealed. We are invited to name God in order to show what he means to us, to express our relationship. As Professor Soskice said, and now quoting, we can name God through who God is for us, or elsewhere in the presentation, the names of God are names not of what God is in God's self, but confessions who God is for us. When God reveals to Moses in a burning bush and asks Moses to go to Egypt to ask Pharaoh to release Israelites, Moses requests the name. He knew they will ask him, who sent you? Not what sent you. And God names himself. He shows that a true person can name things as well as other persons. But person could name him or herself too. God names himself. He made himself known to Moses, but yet he remained unknown, because clear knowing of God is not in the human powers. So to speak, he remained mystery. If God reveals his name and yet he remains the wholly different, unknown, hidden mystery, it is a call, an inspiration, an invitation to name God and express who God is for us, who we are, and what is our relationship to God, and what is our relationship to others. It corresponds, in my point of view, with what Jesus asks his disciples in Caesarea Philippi. Who do people say that the Son of Man is? And now I'm quoting from Matthew. He asks how people name him. Why he asks that? Because he knows that the people call upon him, they name him. And disciples answer. Some say John the Baptist, but others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. Now, perhaps they wait he tells them who he really is. Maybe they even thought that he is different from whom he seems to be or appears to them, but no sensation. He strikes them with a very personal question instead. Who do you say that I am? The only one who dares to answer is Simon Peter. You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. What Jesus replies to Peter is in consonance with the story of Moses. Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. Peter is able to name Jesus as God, not because of his own powers, but because he received the right words to name God. Human beings are invited to name God, but this invitation is paradoxical. It is invitation to do what they can and cannot do at the same time. Human beings are even entitled to name God, but their naming of God depends on how God names himself. Human persons are in relationship with personal God. Each personal relationship should have a courage to name the other person, yet it must be attentive to listen how the other names him or herself. A proper personal relationship is a consonant of who the person is from our perspective and from perspectives of the other. And now the question comes, am I existing because I have the name or I received the name? In creational perspective, my name is not František, but a man. And my wife, for instance, her name is not Marie, but a woman in front of God. But since our parents called us by name, pronounced our names became part of our identity and thus inseparable from our personality. And thus we are not anymore only a woman or a man, but we are František and Maria in front of God too. Our names are embedded in our personalities as well as it is our pronouncements of I. Each I is unique for us as well as for God. Our human I is as unique as the I of God. When we say I, we accept ourselves fully. It is raditio completa in se ipsum. As well as God, we can even say I am. But God's I am is substantially different from our I am. God is a being itself, das Sein, from himself. Human beings are still creatures, even though they are the only creatures capable of raditio completa in se ipsum. And thus their I am does not refer only to what they are, but also to who they are. They are God's creatures, yet privileged enough to be created after an image and likeness of God, of their Creator, the very source of all existence. The human I am is thus a confession of our createdness. And now I'm coming back to the original text again. In theological terms, we may conclude that the revelation is when God shares his name with human beings, and faith represents human attempts to name God. Yet there is a third aspect of naming God, and it is community. Naming God is not a lonely effort of individuals. It is also a communal effort of the Church in Christianity or Jewish community in Judaism. These are shared realms of cumulated experience with naming God. Such community, or the Church, if you like, treasures revealed names of God, interprets them and discerns names given to God by believing individuals. Such group of believers are natural institutes for passing on religious tradition in all its aspects, including devotional traditions or prayer and liturgy where naming God plays a central role. One of the tools believing community has for the purpose is theology, as a laboratory for investigating possibilities in naming God. Theology conceptualizes God by naming and believes that this is a way to learn about God and the human relationship with him. Naming God is theology as praxis. Thank you very much.